And I'll tell you guys since we're all friends. Every character I write has a piece of me in them. Hi, I'm Lee Bardugo. You're listening to the GrishaCast.
Welcome to GrishaCast, episode 128 and a half. In this special episode, I will be talking with my personal favorite Grishaverse artist, Kolarp. This is your host, Eric, and unfortunately, Terry's not with us. We are still here from Nashville, Tennessee. This is your podcast for all things Grishaverse, a world created by the incredibly brilliant Lee Bardugo. Moi Savienyi casters! Hello! Oh, it's weird. Terry's not here. I'm used to her responding, but it is okay.
I'll be the proxy, Terry. Hello.
Yay!
I'm Kolarp Em. I am the artist that Eric is referring to.
Yes.
Some people know me as that insane Zoyalai artist on Instagram. But yeah, nice to meet you all. Nice to finally be able to talk with you on your podcast, Eric.
I'm so glad you're here, and it's gonna be so much fun. So I've been talking to Kolarp for quite a while now, trying to plan this, and I think finally we were just like, we're gonna just do it. So we got it going, and yeah, so it's exciting, and yeah. So first off, Kolarp, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And for all of those out there that haven't heard of Kolarp, definitely check her out. And she is on all of her social medias with the same name at Kolarp M. And that's, yeah, Kolarp M. So, isn't that
Yeah, I have a very strange name. It's it's Cambodian. So everybody's always asking like, "Oh, like how did you come up with it? Like is it like a fantasy world name or like an alternate character or something?" Like, "No, this is literally the name my mother gave me at birth." So,
wow? Okay.
but
Well,
I laugh about it. It's just like really funny. I'm like, "Do I sound like a fantasy name? That's sort of cool, I guess."
Well, I'm glad you laugh about that. I'm sorry that people think that.
Oh, it's okay. People can call me like goldfish and I'd be okay with it. As long as you let me draw, like I have no problem with you.
Aw. So
Uh,
I will first start out by just expressing how I found Kolarp on Instagram and just scrolling through all my Grishaverse feeds and just looking, and all of a sudden I came across a stunning photo. I don't think it was this image that is right here, but this image right here has Zoya and Nikolai, and but what caught my attention was Zoya's beautiful hair. Um Kolarp decided to not only give her dark hair, but also had this blue and purple highlights, and oh my god, it's breathtaking. There's a lot of images on Instagram for that, but that's what first caught my attention, and then I kept on watching, and slowly started to notice that there was a little bit of a theme going on, and I messaged her, and I can't remember how I found out about the Zoyalai project, King of Scars project thing, but I remember seeing that under every photo there was a caption, and it said morning doodle, and then had like a sentence or a couple sentences from King of Scars, and it was like the image of that drawn, and it was so amazing to then come and find out that that was a project that Kolarp decided she wanted to do. Just go from the beginning of King of Scars to the end one day, hopefully. So it's kind of a really cool thing. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad that you found so much joy in my random selection of a book. Everybody is always outraged, like, why didn't you start at the beginning? Why didn't you start with Shadow and Bone? And I swear I had no idea I was gonna do this. I was just drawing something in the morning before I worked out.
Wow.
So it's sort of like evolved, right? And I'm like, I did not plan this well. This is like a building with like poor planned structure where like people just laid random floors on top of each other.
I
But yeah.
I think that's where the best inspiration comes from, is when you, like, randomly out of nowhere and you start doing something and it just turns into something that you find a lot of joy in. And that's incredible. And yes, of course, like, I'm glad you get a lot of joy out of it. And I know that me as a fan, and I know I can speak for probably all your other fans. We all enjoy seeing it because it's really cool to see some of the different things we've never seen before come to life. And there's a magical part to like seeing something that you love and that you've read actually seeing a visual interpretation of it. So,
Oh, thank you. I proclaim myself the artist that is willing to draw the stuff that nobody else wants to draw. So that's probably why you never see it. Like nobody really wants to draw bricks on a wall or a chair.
well,
They just want to draw the cool characters. So I'm like, I will immerse you in a room full of chairs that you've never seen before.
that's awesome though. Like you challenge yourself and
Mhm.
that's so important. I wish more it's very important for I think all of us to challenge ourselves and I think that's great. So, okay, before we get into it, we've got to cover a couple bases first. So, first off, I've got to ask, what Grisha order would you be in?
Well, I am definitely of the material guy ilk,
Okay.
just because I like to make stuff.
Yeah.
And I usually just lock myself in a room and just to make stuff. I don't really need to go out there. I mean, like, of course you should experience life. I
Yeah.
should always put a disclaimer, experience life, kids. But like,
Don't
when
lock
I
yourself
hunker
in a
down,
room.
yeah, yeah, don't do it all the time. But when I really hunker down to work, then like I get really into it and I'm really fueled by curiosity, right? And one of my major inspirations or characters that I find inspiration in is David Kostick, just because like he's allowed to just sit there and like make stuff and do things and be curious, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, you sort of suffer this thing as an artist, especially like with the personality I have, where like people are like, oh, like you don't have a lot of friends, you don't go outside, you're not dressing up, you're sort of a loser because you're
My
not
God.
doing cool things, right? And like, people have like even gone to the point where they're like, oh, like it's sort of pathetic that she's not like partying with the rest of us or whatever, right? And I'm like, it's cool, you can party, I just don't want to. Like I just want to make things. And like I usually make things with the physical. Well, I mean, I'll do physical and digital stuff, so I'm not sure if I would be I
You're an
mean,
artist.
yeah, yeah, I think duress is the closest thing to an artist I can find. There's
Yeah.
the alchemy, which they use like chemistry and stuff like that, but I'm like,
I think you're
I don't.
right.
Yeah,
Tourist.
yeah. um so like I don't know, I've always been bad at chemistry but okay at geometry. So that's why I picked Durst instead.
I think that makes a lot
Oh.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, good. Uh,
I'll physically make stuff like dresses or I'll customize bags to like fit all my art supplies plus the stuff that I need for everyday life like wallets and chapstick and whatever, right?
wow.
So like yeah. Yeah, I have a bag here actually that's just like a pencil bag that I can fit my iPad, sketchbooks, markers,
What?
pens, yeah, wallet, and like they have slots in them for each individual thing. So like, it's all like custom to what I need, right?
Oh my god.
Um,
That's so cool.
yeah. Yeah, and part of it is like, you could just put it all in a big duffel bag, right? But I need it small and flush to my body because I live in LA and like you don't want your shit stolen in LA
Mm-mm. No, you do
or New
not.
York or whatever, right? Or any big city. So I like to make sure the bag is like as compact and minimal as possible and flush to my
Yes.
body so that nobody can like, rip it off me or whatever.
I
But
feel
yeah,
the
you could call
same.
it paranoia, but
No. I think I
uh,
love it. I do the same thing. I love small bag. I carry a lot with me and all the time. It's
emotionally or physically.
both. But
Uh,
I do physically carry a lot with me, even just going random places, and it's so funny. It's just, I think in my head, you never know what could happen. You might like I carry so many books like just to
Mhm.
go pick up my groceries. I mean, it's pretty
Uh-huh.
insane, but
You
it's
never know when you need to read a book at the grocery store.
yeah, well,
Uh,
absolutely. So, okay, so next question.
mhm.
What would you be the sancta of? Ooh, that was
Uh,
sancta of. Yes.
let's see. So this is something I really had to think on. I actually looked through. I have the Lives of Saints book
Yeah.
behind me actually, and I was like, okay, I have to like pick a name that sort of matches that name type, right?
Oh,
So I think I would be the Sancta of foolish curiosity.
okay.
Because that's really what fuels everything I do. It used to be rage when I was like younger,
Yeah.
angsty teenager.
Yep.
But now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, I'm really just fueled by curiosity at this point. So
That's
I mean,
great.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much everyone calls my ideas like sort of strange or even straight up like dumb until I carry them out, and then they're like, "Oh, I always believed in you this entire
Right.
time."
Mhm.
Yeah, like there's a lot of artists or like even followers that are like, "Why are you painting every line in this book?" Or like, "Why would you put in the effort to like do this or that or whatever?" Right? Because I
Oh
like
my
make a
god.
lot of weird things that are very specific to what I need, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so like nobody ever believes me until they see it, and then like they call me foolish in a sense. And even like becoming an artist, of course, a lot of people go through this, and it makes sense, but where you're like, oh, I'm gonna become an artist, and everybody's like, wow, you're gonna die
Die.
starving.
Yep. Die
Yeah,
starving on the
yeah.
street. Yep.
Yeah, or like die in a gutter or whatever, right? Or you're only gonna have your art known after you die or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
Very
and
true.
I'm like, well, do you wake up and turn on your phone every morning? Do you press a button? Somebody designed that button. Do you open an app? Somebody designed the stuff in that app. Do you watch movies? Artists made that movie. Do you watch like TV shows? Do you play video games? Like there's really like a lot of art jobs, right? So that's a whole topic in and of itself. But like, no, you don't have to starve if you're an artist. It is competitive, of course.
Right.
But like, especially with people indulging in media every day,
Yeah.
all the time, especially after the quarantine and stuff. There's actually like a lot of art jobs. It's just your parents don't know the names of these art jobs, so they think
Right.
that you're just gonna die in a gutter or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so of course I was called an idiot for trying to become an artist too. So
Well.
yeah, I'd be the Sancta of foolish curiosity.
Well, I think that's great. I think that's
Oh,
very
thank you.
creative. I can't even remember what I was sancta of. I think I came up with like sancta of
Uh-huh.
cheesecake and I don't know, I had something else, but
That's so much better than mine. Oh my goodness. I should have
cheesecake.
chosen I
No,
should have chosen cheesecake. Even my lactose intolerance will not stop me from eating a cheesecake.
I feel you. I know. I have my favorite cheesecake and like I know like oh my gosh, I love cheesecake. Okay, so
Uh,
now this is maybe probably it's a really important question. How did you get introduced to the Grishaverse?
okay. So I have a pretty simple introduction to the Greaserverse. I have one friend from high school that I still talk to more often than any other friend, really. And she loves the Grishaverse, right? She loves yawn novels in general, but I think the Grishaverse was like her gateway drug into yawn novels, right? So I told her I like fantasy novels, and so she was like, "Okay, you have to read these books, right?" And so I read Shadow and Bone. Well, in actuality, I listened to it because I will listen to a book while I paint, and I paint like
Mhm.
all the time, right? So when she buys me a book, I actually just immediately buy the audiobook.
Yeah.
I think now at this point she just buys me the audiobook, but at first she didn't know, right? Um and so me and my boyfriend would like listen to it together, right? And so we listened to the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and we listened to Six of Crows. and we really enjoyed them. And Six of Crows especially I thought was like really well written. But when King of Scars came out, my boyfriend and I were actually broken up for the third time, which is a
Oh,
story in itself.
that's another podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The drama of my life. But we were listened to that as well at the same time because I was like, oh, this third book came out, right? And he's like, or not third book, it was like the sixth book that came out in the series, right? And so he's like, oh, okay, like I'll listen to it, right? And so we like rebonded over that, right? Um, and so yeah, like it sort of has this a place in my heart because like we listened to it like while we were broken up and going
Mm.
through stuff, right? So I think maybe that's one of the many reasons I have an affinity for King of Scars over the other books. Because like I mentioned, I didn't start painting the original trilogy. I started painting
Yeah.
Six of Crows and King of Scars, right? And then I went insane with King of Scars. So I feel like my connection to King of Scars is probably stronger than the rest of the books.
Yeah. We all have
uh,
that.
yeah, for sure.
The-
I know you have your own like really strong personal connections to the original series too.
I love hearing everybody's different stories on how they got introduced to it because the
Mm-hmm.
Grishaverse, it's now bigger than it was, but it's still like I think relatively smaller than some fandoms, and
Mm-hmm.
it's growing, and that's the really cool part about where we are right now. But it's just I love hearing everybody's and like just story about how they got introduced to it because it always starts with like one random like because I only knew one person that had read the
Mm-hmm.
Grishaverse, like one. It's
That's
always
all it takes.
exactly. That's all it takes.
uh,
So next, real quickly,
mhm.
like spoiler alert rating. Like, how would you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 5? Okay, so one
Okay. Mm-hmm.
being like small science, what? To 5 being completely spoiled, you'd be like Grishaverse knowledge royalty. You'd just know everything, read it all, seen it all, done it all. So
Oh man.
one,
Okay.
yeah. What would
All
you?
right.
How'd you rate yourself?
So I think I am a 4. I cannot call myself a 5 because I haven't actually read all of the Lives of Saints. I have the book, I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet.
Okay.
It's probably because it's a physical book, and like if it's not an audiobook form,
Ooh,
then like I'm not gonna like read it immediately, right? But I do want to read the physical one because it's got the pictures in it, right? I
that
feel like
one's a
it'd be
good
like
audio.
yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. I'll listen to the audio and read, yeah, and look through the images while I'm listening. Maybe that's a good compromise.
The reason I
Um.
say that is just because
Mhm.
Ben Barnes reads all, I believe it's the male
Uh-huh.
saints. And then
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
so
nice.
it's
Uh-huh.
really cool to have Ben Barnes reading, and then
Uh-huh.
and then all the Sancta, the women saints,
Hmm.
is read by the same wonderful person that reads pretty much I think every single Grishaverse novel,
Oh, they
Lauren
are narrated
Fordgang.
beautifully. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I've heard their name before.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay, okay. I'm excited to read it. I definitely have it on my list. I just was sort of on a reading when you're fatigued
oh
of
yeah,
from reading for a little bit.
absolutely.
But yeah, that'll probably be one of the first things I listen to because it's a pretty short
Oh yeah,
like book. Like it's not like really a lot of time investment or whatever.
it's very
Um.
easy to just actually pick
Uh-huh.
up and just read one story and then put it down. So don't even feel like you have to sit and like you could totally do other things while reading that book. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's all short stories. Like I mean, very short stories. Like I think the longest might be I don't know if it's 3 pages we get to. Is like that's how
Mhm.
short they are. So I
Ah,
mean, it covers
nice.
like 30 saints. So that
All right, I'll get my Saints history lesson soon.
if that's the only thing you haven't read, I would give yourself like a little. You would probably be a 4.5. I mean, come
Wait, I
on.
can do decimal points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Throw in decimals. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want. It's our show. We
yeah.
can do whatever. So
Well, I also let's see. I haven't read the small short stories at the end of the books because I don't think that those are in the audio form. They're like only in physical, or yeah,
Right.
you have to read the book for it. So anything that isn't an audio in the audio book, then like I might not have like read it or listened to it.
Gotcha.
So but I find little tidbits like that like important, so I should go and read them. Um
Well,
so, but yeah, so maybe like 4.3, not take off that. But I do have watched the shows and I have read all of the major books multiple times. I read like the original trilogy, Six of Crows, and the duology probably at least 3 times each. And then the King of Scars duology, I've read at least like 5 times to 7 times each. King of Scars I've listened to like
oh,
on repeat just because I paint
I could imagine
the
you
book.
probably have read that one a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So like I can recall a lot of weird details from memory.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah. Although you've probably read all of them multiple
I
times too.
have. I'm crazy. I would
Yeah.
I would definitely rate myself, unfortunately, as I'm gonna give myself spoiled. I would be a I would be a little insane. I
You'd be
mean,
like a 7.
I've read, watched, done too much. Have you read Language of Thorns, which is the
Oh yes, I have
okay,
actually. It's
good.
actually beautiful. The stories in that are really
Oh my
beautiful.
god, I know. And the
Oh
art in
man.
them
Yeah.
is gorgeous, especially that very
Oh
last
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
I actually did go through that one physically.
yeah,
Because
that
the art is worth it.
that's a really cool one to go through. And actually, we got to interview Aaron Stein,
Hmm.
who was it, Lee Bardugo's was her like publisher and also her editor for a specific period of time. And anyways, Language of Thorns was
Hmm.
a period of time that she was the like the editor and producer. Like it was really neat. She gave us all this like inside information about like how the like drawings came about and how like even the cover and like it was really neat. So like I loved
Oh,
hearing all
nice.
the inside stuff to it and it was really neat. So yeah,
I have to listen to that one. That's pretty dope.
it is really cool. She's I love that I love seeing images now. I love that we're about to get, the Demon in the Wood graphic novel. That's going to be
Yeah.
incredible.
Mhm.
Especially since it's going to be more of there's going to be more story than the short story gives. So that's going to be
Mhm.
cool and it's just
Nice.
I love seeing images. For so long the Grishaverse was just the books and the maps, and I love the maps. Oh my god, I love maps. Love
Oh, they're
maps.
beautiful maps. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, they are my favorite. Like
I wouldn't mind like a wall just covered in like the Grishaverse map.
the King of Scars one is my absolute favorite. Like,
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. So the cover is gorgeous too. Everything about that book is gorgeous. She
oh
was just like, just bathe it in gold. It's fine. Just,
yes,
just I've got all this. Let's express the wealth of my world at this point.
yeah, it's
Uh,
amazing.
mhm.
So, okay, so before we, I wanted to real quickly, I talked a little bit earlier about how I found you, but I would like to show a couple of my favorite images that kind of like drew me further into actually getting the courage to like message you. So, um,
Courage.
my my first image is of the Bone Bridge at like I would say this is like a little bit past. Is it okay? Wait, I don't even know. Is this morning or is this a little bit past sundown? Like I mean, like I feel like it's one or the other because
Oh,
I see the
uh-huh.
light in the back, so I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that either the sun's about to like maybe
Oh man.
you don't. It's probably
So in all honesty, I have to lie
okay.
during night scenes so that people can see anything, right?
Okay.
And so it's more like a moonlit kind of scene because Zoya's dragging Nikolai back from the goose farm, right?
Oh, that's what
Yeah,
this
yeah.
specifically is. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. And
gotcha.
they have to cross the bone bridge to get to the other side, right?
Yep.
And they're like talking about how like really questionable the structure is, especially since it's made out of bones, right? And I had a hard time because like I actually went into the novel and I was like, okay, like how big would the bones be if you're able to get a carriage over it, right? Without
Right.
like falling over, and so like it didn't say anything about almost falling over or anything, so I'm like it must be a pretty comfortable fit for a
Yeah.
carriage. So I had to take that into account. I had to take into account that they could see it from a distance, so there had to be like pillar-like structures. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, like there's like, and then of course I had to paint the town on the other side, and the chasm. So like there's a lot of elements to like fit. One of the challenges of these like book illustrations that are not just two people standing in front of a camera are just like trying to show like the depth of the world in one rectangle. If I had a
Yeah.
film, yeah, if I had like a camera, right, then that could move, then I could like sort of pan around and whatever. But I'm trying to like fit it into a 2 second, like an Instagram image someone would look at for 2 seconds, right?
Right.
So a lot of my stuff is like overly theatrical so that people could like read it and understand it in like a quick format. And yeah, the format of the image and how you like what medium you're gonna display it in really does like change how you're supposed to approach it. Just so that the audience can like understand it, you
Of
know.
course. Yeah. I
But yeah, that one's a tough one.
Well, I understand, and I think it's like I love that because I mean there's just no other image of that, and that is exactly it's just beautiful. So the second image I've got that I love is this Nikolai laying in bed because I love the fact that one how beautiful this image is, but it's you can see his face, and then I just love the shadow, like, how it's just a very incredible image. So, I loved seeing this.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
very
Yeah,
real.
this one was very like symbolic, just because, of course, like he's in his human form still, but he's more like thinking about what he could change into, and he has a sphere looming over him, right?
Right.
So this one was very like artsy fartsy and not as literal as the other images. It's funny, we were talking about like, oh, which images has Leigh Bardugo actually like gone and like liked
Yeah,
or and stuff,
right.
but then this was one of them for sure.
Oh, awesome.
So you have the same taste as her,
Oh,
apparently.
good. Well, perfect. Okay.
But yeah, like I think that this one was hard to tackle because again, I was trying to fit a lot of stuff. I was trying to fit Nikolai being chained into bed and
Mhm.
then also having the lighting that allows me to cast a shadow onto a surface that will clearly project an image that is clearly his demon self. So I had
Yeah.
to like finagle the room and like put a curtain over there where there was no curtain before. Um, Make sure like the lighting was like all right. For this one, I did use 3D as a base, but I had to render two different renders. One with his demon form, like trying to push itself out of bed, so that just and I just used the shadow part of that, and then one with the normal Nikolai just like laying in bed staring at the lamp, right? So that one took like two renders in order to create. I did pretty minimal painting on that one because a lot of times I have a very short amount of time I have to do these in, right? And so like if I don't have a lot of if the picture's sort of complex to do, like I had to do two different renders and two different versions, then I don't have a lot of time to paint at the end, right? And the reason I give myself these deadlines is because I just won't finish something unless I give myself a deadline.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure all other people feel that way too. So yeah, this one I did like very minimal painting, but I think the 3D was like good enough to where like it could
Oh,
pass as a illustrative kind of like piece or whatever.
it's
Um,
fantastic. It really
Thank
is.
you.
It's a beautiful image. So
Yeah.
So the next image is just a really okay. So I love this because it shows me the palace and how in I just love seeing this. I love the way you did it. I know that's Zoya, but and I
Hmm.
my favorite character, of course. But this is I love things the images I've picked out for this are just because I love seeing things that like I hadn't seen done before. And
Mm-hmm.
I love your interpretation of the palace that is gorgeous, like so beautiful. It's got like the perfect amount of gold and blue, yet like it's so regal and I just think it was an incredible job. Like, so that's what I love. I love world building with stuff. So I love it when you do what you do best, which is challenge yourself. And this is one of those. Like, it's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Oh man, the palace is like my mortal enemy, has been my mortal enemy for a long time because Lay describes it so insanely. Like it's supposed to like be covered in like marble and gold and
Yep.
have three tiers and be like a decorated cake and like shine and like it's supposed to also be like overly like decorative and like and you know people are always asking me where do you get your references, right? And I'm like there is no reference for something like this. I have
Wow.
to like jam as much crazy stuff together that I can to like portray it, right? And this took several tries. I tried to draw the palace like in the background, or even sometimes just the palace straight up in like a 3/4 view. Like I've tried to do it several times based on like actual reference and none of it felt right. So this is the first time where I was like, you know what? Lay made a fantasy palace and I'm just gonna pull it out of my butt.
I You did fantastic. You did
Oh, thank
fantastic.
you.
So the last image I'm going to show is this one. So this is amazing because yet it's another thing that like I tried so hard to describe this literally to someone. And there had been nothing out there at that time. If you look at what the GrishaCast logo is, well, above Azalta in that blue and purple and red sunset, there is a shadow with wings. This is what I was trying to describe to have done, that I wanted flying above our Azalta or our yeah our buildings. However, it wanted to be in a shadow form completely. But this, when
Mhm.
I saw this, I was like, oh, of course you did this. Like, and you got it.
What if I just stole your logo?
Girl, my
Uh,
it's now the logo is great, and I love. But come on, your wings, those are so amazing.
yeah, it's actually hard to find shadow wings or reference of shadow wings because of course they don't exist in real life.
No,
You really have to see like how video games have done it because that's like they've probably done the most shadow wings, right? Um just because everyone wants a fantasy avatar in those things. And so I definitely like had to make standard issue wings and then sort of go in there and like mess them up and then like also make some parts transparent and like add the shadow wisps and stuff like that, right?
okay,
And like part of the challenge of being able to create these illustrations is to translate what you see in your mind because your mind has unlimited budget, unlimited power. You can literally imagine anything and you're not restricted by having to pay an actor to pose for you or something, right? So like being able to translate the idea of those wings and Nikolai in that form onto the page is sort of like a really cool feat that I feel like once I did that one, I was like, okay, I think I've gotten like a lot better at translating my idea onto paper, which is what you were trying to do, right? Translate your idea into like a
into
logo,
somebody.
right?
Well, is translating my idea
Uh-huh.
to somebody that could
Hmm.
do that, and that was
Hmm.
even hard. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
she
telephone game.
She had never read the book, she didn't know
Uh-huh.
what I was referring to, yet,
Hmm.
however, I do give her like, I mean, she did all the like, everything else, like, I mean, like, and
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
like,
Hmm.
I I went crazy with the logo
Hmm.
just because, like, I was very specific. I knew what I wanted, I just didn't
Hmm.
know how to do it, and, like, I wanted, like, every single element of that logo is a part of the Grishaverse. I mean, the sunset colors are the 3 colors of the Grisha orders, so it's, like,
Hmm.
every single like, I was just nuts. So, it's so
It's
hard.
all very clever.
Well, I don't know if everybody sees that, however, I know it's there. So,
Well, people love secrets and like hidden Easter eggs. So like the people that do notice these things probably feel like real special after they do.
I hope so. I hope so. So,
Uh-huh.
okay, so tell us a little bit about your your project. So I would call it, what I started was calling it your King of Scars project. However, it's your Zoili project. Give us a little bit, just
Uh-huh.
explain a little bit about that.
Oh man,
You
yeah,
have
I would
explained
love.
some already, but
Oh, don't worry. I have too much insanity to contain. So yeah, like it's hard to like name it because I originally did want to paint the whole like, or I mean, at one point I wanted to do the whole book, but I was like thinking about the logistics of it and thinking, okay, how many characters do I have to design? Like I like have to
that's a
like
lot.
make random characters daughters and stuff, right? Like, and then like Isaac, like how will I illustrate him without people confusing him with Nikolai, but also making it look like Jenya did a good job because I don't want to make it seem like she did a bad job on him, right? Like transforming him into Nikolai. And then like of course like Nina's whole story is a whole other country, and like they're on ships and stuff, and then they're also on like these bizarre buildings and fortresses, and there's horses. Horses are like also my mortal enemy. Just because like I'm not a horse girl, like I have to like look up how people ride on horses and stuff, right? Um, so like I had to frame it down to just the Zoyoli, only the Zoyoli scenes, so that I don't go insane and so that I don't die before I finish this project, right? But yeah, so that's why it's sort of like hard to name.
I get it.
um but yeah, and so but as far as wanting to like illustrate a whole book, I've wanted to illustrate a whole book, or at least the entire scope of a book, for like a little over 10 years. Like
Wow.
it's yeah, there's been like several attempts with different books. All of them
Yeah, I saw
either failed or stalled.
a
Yeah.
Cruel Prince. I saw like you had
Oh
images
yeah,
of
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Uh-huh.
when I finally scrolled down, way like, yeah, I remember it took me forever to get to there, but I was like, oh my god, you did a Cruel Prince too. I was like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but way far back in my past of yesteryear,
yes,
I did post some of my attempts. But yeah, like I've tried it with several books. As far as like I've tried the King Killer Chronicles. I don't know if you read that.
mm-mm.
The Witcher books. I've tried
Yeah,
to
wow,
illustrate those too. Uprooted, I thought about. I even have documents for that one. And Cruel Prince I got the farthest with as far as gathering information. Like I have a whole spreadsheet, or two spreadsheets, one for characters, one for environments, and I typed every single description in the book into the spreadsheet, right?
wow.
I couldn't copy and paste it because Kindle actually thinks that you're trying to
Oh, I
steal
know.
and sell a book.
Uh
Oh
huh.
yeah, okay. You know this. You
Yep.
and I are the two people in the universe that know this problem.
And I know how to get around it, but I probably shouldn't tell it on
Oh, okay.
here.
Tell me in secret. All right. Once the podcast is over, you can tell me.
I will. So
But yeah, so I ended up like hand typing a bunch of it. I should have asked you for the secret like last year, but
mm,
um so I hand typed a lot of it, and so like it has all the environments, and then the environments are broken down to categories, and then they're like categorized as person, place, or thing, and then the characters are separated by the chapters in the book and what they're wearing, right? Because each the characters wear different outfits for different times, whether it's like one of the fighting scenes or like a party scene or whatever, right? And like I have this whole elaborate spreadsheet system, and I was like, I'm going to illustrate the entirety of Cruel Prince. Right?
wow.
I'm sorry, Holly Black, that like I failed in this endeavor, but I tried. And I have like a couple of Cruel Prince illustrations, but yeah, like the thing that stopped me was like the pressure, because I had such high expectations of myself to like do a good job that I would actually like spend way too long on one thing and then never finish it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, the whole grandeur of this whole idea of illustrating an entire book, it was just too overwhelming for me, right? So when I started doing the King of Scars illustrations, I literally was just trying to like doodle something in the mornings before I worked out, right? And so like they were like silly doodles. Like I actually painted the characters working out because I was about to work out. Like that's how like blatantly this
Wow.
is what it is that I was about it. And I didn't show them to people at first. It wasn't until my friends were like, "Oh, people would really like these, even if they're like shitty fast doodles. Like you should actually share these, right? Because I think
Yeah.
people would enjoy them, right?" And I'm like, you know what? I don't really care if they're popular or not. I'll just post them, right? And so and it's like the sixth book in the series. Like no one's gonna, I'm not gonna introduce people to the series through this. You have to already sort of know what the series is.
Right.
Which is my mistake. A lot of people actually like my stuff without actually reading the books, but go buy the books so that you can support Barduga.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, the carefree nature of it, and the like, I don't care if I do good on this nature of it is actually what kept it going for so long.
Good.
Cause like, most people are aware that this has been going on for like a year and a half or whatever, right? So yeah, like it was really the thing that was stopping me from illustrating an entire book was just the fact that I wanted them to be perfect, right? So of course I get a lot of comments like, "Hey, you forgot the scars on Nikolai's
Oh
hand
my
in this
God.
painting," and I'm like, you know
No.
what? Hey, I gave you free art.
Oh
Just
my.
like that's my attitude now. So like I feel a lot more relaxed about like social media and stuff. I'm like, people are just laying in bed eating hot Cheetos. It's fine. They can be mad if they want.
Yeah, they can get over
Uh,
it because everything you've done is perfect and it's
oh,
oh
thank
my
you.
God. So,
But yeah, that is my most common mistake. So I think there was one follower. I'm sorry for calling you out, but I just thought it was really funny. That has been going through like every single one of my images, which I think is really fun to like watch a person's journey through my whole gallery and like leaving comments like, "Hey, you forgot Nikolai's scars on this one," and I think they realize like I do that like all the time.
well, you know,
I'm like, yeah, it is a mistake. It's legitimate. Have fun.
I love it when you have this magnificent beautiful photo that you do and then of course someone's like remark is did you by the way, you forgot the scars here. It's like, okay, did
Yeah.
you even notice how like thank you, by the way. I mean, I am an artist and I can
Ah,
so just a shout out to you guys out there that aren't artists. Us artists do as much and as hard as we can and you know what? We put out what we can and you know what? If we forgot something, we forgot something. Because
yeah.
it happens. We're human. You are too. So
Yeah.
relax, breathe. Kolarp's amazing. Don't come for
Oh,
her
thank
because I'll
you.
come for you.
Well,
Thank you.
when people do come for me, it's pretty funny. 'Cause
Send them
I'm
my
like,
way. I will
all right, we'll have tag team.
I got you. So
Thank you.
well, since this is a podcast, however, I knew that Kolarp and I had way much more to talk about regarding her artwork. So, there is going to be a bonus content with like video that you will be able to find on YouTube. And yeah, it's going to be Kolarp pretty much taking us on a journey through her never before seen or told morning doodles from the very beginning sketches all the way to the finished product, plus much more of her beautiful, beautiful artwork. It will just be a video. It is not going to be a podcast, so you can only find it on YouTube, but it will be on GrishaCast's YouTube page under bonus content with Kolarp. So look for that if you're interested. It's definitely for those artistic people out there that also want to learn more about how to do things like this. It's going to be an incredible video. So, um, it'll be fun. But we have some games to play. So,
Aw, snaps.
I know. So I'm a little bit late to this one. So this first game, if you've listened before, I like to do these really random things, like give all the characters the zodiac signs that hadn't been given their zodiac signs, and then their jobs in our world or the senior class. Yeah, that's right. The what was I can't remember superlatives, senior superlatives. We so this time, we're gonna go back to the beginning of the COVID crisis and pretend that all of our characters are in the COVID quarantine lockdown, and where we all were for depending on your job, it could still be going on. But, anyways, for most people, it's ended. But we all, at some point, were stuck in our houses and couldn't do anything else except stay at home. And sometimes people even had to go to their work and then come back to quarantine. So, I mean, anyways, we're going to pretend that our characters are in lockdown and we have both come up with what we think their favorite quarantine activity would have been because come on, we all had to figure out something to get us by when we're stuck in a house. So, or apartment or wherever. So, anyways, are you ready to play Kolarp?
Oh man, I'm ready. Although I'm pretty sure your answers are gonna be more interesting than mine.
Oh my god, no. It's
I went
so
pretty
fun.
literal.
That's okay.
But all right, it'll be fun.
Exactly.
Uh, I'll let you shoot first with
Okay.
Alina Starkov.
Okay, so Alina, I said would becoming f- she would be she'd be famous by posting everything she is doing to stay like mentally healthy. She would become like one of those self-help gurus and like she would host her own like live yoga and meditation events online and it'd just be one of those random like people that got so famous like posting everything they do and you don't understand why. So, like,
Oh, that's really cute. So she's like a lifestyle influencer, as they
yes,
say. Yeah,
definitely a
yeah.
self-help
That,
one that, yeah, has,
that's really cute. Oh man. Yeah, I actually think that matches her fame status in the books, right?
yeah.
Oh man, okay. So I might have been projecting with my
Oh my
answer.
God,
So
don't worry about it.
so my answer was she would actually sketch and paint a lot. She would just go and like paint everything that her heart's desires because she doesn't have to like actually physically go to work or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
she I think at the end of Rune and Rising, she's decorated the orphanage that she and Mal runs with like little paintings and stuff. So I think that's what fueled my theory on that. Plus she like was a cartographer, right? So she painted and drew maps and stuff, right? Um and then as far I actually did write a comment or like think about like the social media aspect of it. So I think that she would post her artwork, but then like I would assuming from the end of the Ruin and Rising books that she doesn't really want to be famous. Which is the
Right.
opposite of what you did. I sort of wrote that like she would actually sort of post her paintings, but with minimal exposure to her real life. So she would sort of hide like where she lived or like what she was doing, right?
Oh,
Which is really funny. It was the opposite of yours. So maybe we could combine them and say that she was into that, and then she realized how crazy social media was, and then she took a break from social media.
hey, I,
Yeah, we can make them a dual answer.
I think it could be in some kind of crazy
Mhm,
Grishaverse
mhm.
multiverse that Alina in all these different multiverses is doing different things?
Yeah,
So,
that's fun. I consider the show Alina and the book Alina like pretty different,
oh yeah,
right? I feel like their personalities are pretty different, so there's already like an official multiverse, right?
exactly.
And then as far as like Mal is concerned, I feel like since Mal can't go outside, he probably goes crazy because he's like an outdoorsman, right? So she would probably like also be trying to console Mal,
Yeah, he would.
like trying to give him hobbies or something to do.
What's funny though is your answer is exactly where I started because that's the first thing
Oh,
I thought
really?
of was like she painted all the walls and everything in the orphanage, and I like that was exactly where I started. So don't worry, I get it.
But
So
yeah, it's probably projecting because I love just sitting in solitude and painting. So I'm like, yo, I understand you. And a lot of people are mad that she gave up her powers at the end, or like, I mean, couldn't control it. She just lost her
right,
powers. But I'm like, oh, that's such a relief because like, there's so many points in my life where people are like, oh, like we want to make you the leader of this, or like you should we want to promote you to art director or whatever. And I'm like, I don't really want that responsibility. I just want to draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's just so people have this illusion that art director is like a better job, and like in many cases, for many people it is, because you get more money and more prestige and control and whatever. But like to me personally, and to a lot of other artists, like you don't get to draw or paint anymore. You really just sit in meetings a lot and try to decide like what a gun holster looks like or something, right? So I'm like, not for me.
I think I think it's
uh,
great. I think we've definitely started off good. So, what do you have for the Darkling?
Oh man. Okay. So the Darkling, I want to imagine him as someone that has a following. So we're sort of talking like social media here,
Yeah.
but like he's not like an artist. But I think he would be a great podcast host, which is your job,
Mm,
right?
okay.
But because he's supposed to have like a really nice like voice, like I don't know, like
Yeah.
Lay describes it as like a dark glass or something or like that, right? I think he'd be like pretty popular and like especially popular with the ladies or anybody that's interested in him in general. And then he would also be one of those people that like talks about like political standpoints just because the Darkling himself has an entire political goal in the book series, right? So
Right.
I'm like, I feel like he's got like an agenda. He's like trying to manipulate people into one thing or the other, right? I won't say what he's trying to manipulate people into because I don't know what kind of politics goes on in this alternate universe. But like I'm pretty sure like he has some sort of scheme in mind. I can't imagine the Darkling without a scheme.
Absolutely. So,
But yeah.
mine's the same actually. Mine is I put that he would be a constant CNN watcher, and when he
Oh,
wasn't watching CNN, he was watching House of Cards or some have you ever seen House of Cards? It's a political
yeah, yeah.
so
It's very
very
dramatic.
much about politics and rising to power, and yes, he would constantly have to know what's going on, and yeah, I
Mhm.
I feel the same way. So, hey,
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah. He's a schemer. We can't deny that.
Yeah, and there is no right answer to this because remember, we're crazy, so we're coming up with these insane answers. So,
But no, we gotta get Leigh Bardugo to like get on here and like start like rating our answers.
oh my God, she would probably kill me for some of my answers.
No, I'm
Oh,
sure she'd have a good laugh. She actually sent me a message when she's like, "I enjoy your AUs," and I'm
oh,
like, "Thanks. I know they're really weird, but I appreciate you."
she's
Uh,
amazing, and she's so next Zoya. Oh, my
oh
favorite character.
man. Wait, okay, you should go first on this one.
Okay,
I'm
so
curious.
I put that she would be okay, so, like, you have to think about where she would be in the books, it doesn't matter, so I just put
Uh-huh.
she would I was envisioning that she would, for some reason, just be at the end of, Rule of Wolves in my head when doing this. So,
Mm-hmm.
she's definitely working from home. She couldn't be
Mm-hmm.
doing anything else.
Yeah.
Everything through Zoom. She would get the entire everything done through Zoom, and getting very annoyed with Nikolai being there constantly over her shoulder. I feel like
Oh
that's
my
exactly.
god.
Yeah.
We wrote the same freaking thing. Okay, okay.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Well, mine is like really similar. So, according to the books, she actually loves reading and gardening, right?
Mm.
So, she would love taking a break during the quarantine, but her sense of responsibility is so stupidly strong that like she would still try to keep. I would imagine she and Nikolai work for a company, right? And she would be like trying to keep the company afloat, especially with the changes inflicted upon
Yeah.
everybody with the quarantine. So I think she'd want to read and garden, but she would actually spend her time trying to save Nikolai's company from going under with all the pandemic and quarantine stuff. And then she'd be like drinking coffee and on Zoom meetings constantly,
Yep.
trying to make sure people are actually working instead of like sitting around doing nothing, right?
I get it. Yep.
So she'd be like on the opposite end of what most people are, which is trying to get away with doing less
Yes,
work.
she would be.
She would be trying to stop you. There's like people have like mouse jigglers now where like their mouse jiggles so that like they it seems like
Dude,
they're on the clock and working and they haven't
that's
left
so
their
funny.
computer. That would be her mortal enemy. Or not
Oh, yeah.
mortal because it's
You
not
wouldn't
living.
allow you wouldn't be allowed to have those. So, what would
Uh,
Nikolai do you want me to go first about what Nick
oh man.
uh, It
I'm
just
guessing both of ours are sort of similar too, but I'll go first with this one because it's really
okay.
closely related to Zoya's stress levels. So Nikolai would be the owner of the company that Zoya's working for, but he'd be really nonchalant about it, and he tried to turn all the bad things into good things, right? So he'd like embrace the work from home culture by trying to like work on a boat or something, and then
Right.
everybody would have to deal with him like wearing a captain's hat and putting on sea shanties and like making everyone suffer for his terrible Wi-Fi during meetings, right? And then Zoya would be like trying to like save the company from like just like becoming as lazy and crazy as Nikolai.
That's a good
uh,
one.
but
So,
yeah, so I think he would like start living on a boat or something.
okay.
Mhm.
So, I put that he would be pretending to learn meditation and yoga from Alina's socials, the social videos that she's got, in an
Uh-huh.
attempt to impress Zoya, but it'd just be all pretending, just trying to get Zoya's attention. Um, but that
Uh,
wouldn't really be working. And pretty much he would just be like, pretty much told to go to the garage and tinker around and just hang out there until she's done with her stuff. Otherwise, he would be doing everything that Zoya did. So,
I love that answer just because like Nikolai probably suffers from a mind that goes 1,000 miles an hour, right?
yep.
So if he did try to actually follow Alina's meditation, he would improve his like mind or like his mental health significantly. But because he's doing it for the wrong reasons, like it's all just going down the drain.
Yes.
That would be a great little like novel,
I
side novel.
agree. I think it would be cute. So
But yeah, I love that.
next is Bagra,
Oh, but this
randomly.
one, oh man, yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is like out of the blue,
I
like left
know.
field character.
Yep.
For Bagra, I feel like okay, think that she would be really into like TV and Netflix and stuff like that. She would
Hmm.
just like binge watch every show multiple times because she's lived forever, right?
Yeah.
And I think she's one of those people that can recite lines from movies perfectly, which always impresses me because like I
Oh,
don't have the attention span to watch a movie. I like
yep.
have to be working with my hands or whatever. And then I'm guessing she also really likes historical films and documentaries because she's like lived through it all, right? So like she likes to point out what's true and what's a lie and like a lot of these documentaries because you know how like the telephone game makes people like change history over time, right?
Oh,
Or the
yes.
retelling of history. So she's like, oh, that's BS. Like I was there, like that wasn't true. And I sort of had this idea of her like sort of being like passive about learning technology. So if she has a problem, she like calls her son and like asks him for like tech support. Like, hey, I forgot my password for Netflix again. Can you like tell me how to fix that?
That
Yeah.
that's perfect. That is totally what Bagra would do.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know she probably like, wants to have some connection with her son, even though like he's
Yeah.
sort of a menace.
Yeah. So I don't think mine was that great on this one. I said she would kind of still be doing like online Grisha tutoring, like trying to figure out how
Oh,
to
I
work
like that.
Zoom and trying to still be able to like figure out like, okay, so I'm still going to try to tutor you guys, but then she would just be writing and in between that, writing her life story. So,
Oh, and memoir. I like that. That was
yeah.
actually my original answer. I was like, oh, she's a teacher and she teaches on Zoom, but with the tech support thing, like she is constantly calling the Darkling and being like, how do I make this Zoom call work? How do I record this?
Wow.
But yeah, because like she is a teach in all of our hearts. We see her as originally just Alina's teacher, right before all the revealing of who she really was and stuff. So I think like I don't know if she could ever let go of teaching, but you're in that one. Yours and mine could actually be combined because she could be watching Netflix while she's not teaching.
Yes.
But yeah.
So Kaz is our next one.
Oh,
And mine is definitely a little crazy, funny, realistic one.
oh yeah. Give me
I
yours.
would say that I don't know if anybody remember. I love avocados, so I know about this. But he would
Uh-huh.
somehow be behind. Like I just remember this happening during like COVID. That he
Uh-huh.
would somehow be behind the South African avocado farm, like thieves. Like I don't know if you knew about like there
Oh
was
my god,
this
that is
issue.
wild.
There's
Uh-huh.
this issue of like in South Africa, like avocado farms were like have like going through this huge issue of like these thieves coming and stealing all their avocados. And I just
Oh
figured
man.
Kaz would somehow have somehow a connection to it, yet he would not be anywhere close to South Africa. He would like, yeah, he would live like way far away, but somehow he would be connected to all these crimes going on. Like,
Oh man, I would believe it. He's a criminal mastermind through and through, but that's hilarious. He has like a little avocado pin instead of a merchant's pin.
yeah. What do
Oh
you got?
yeah. Oh man, I love yours, but my okay, so people are gonna hate mine, but I think that it's viable. I think he would be a crypto bro.
Oh my God,
So,
I agree.
yeah, like he would have invested in some weird crypto stuff like right at the time that he should have. Like he guessed when the best time to buy was and then sold it and then just like made a fortune doing nothing during the quarantine, right? And he would like also buy stuff that were good investments, like high quality graphics cards and stuff like that. Because I don't think he really cares about the environment. I think he just cares about making money, right?
Yeah,
So like I
I
think it'd
agree.
be really funny if he was basically just like a get rich quick crypto bro because like it actually worked out for a lot of them.
Yeah, he definitely that would definitely work. So
Oh man.
next is Jesper, and
Mhm.
he was kind of hard.
Yeah, he was.
I put that he would be like probably like an avid gamer, just like really just like
Oh
playing
my
games
god.
constantly. And if he wasn't constantly playing games online with everybody and somehow incorporating money and like winning it or losing it, whatever, he'd be interested in catching up on Game of Thrones because that was happening. Yeah.
Oh my god. I wrote the same thing as you. I wrote that he was a gamer.
See,
But
perfect.
but I also wrote that he would because TikTok became really popular during quarantine, right?
Yes, it did.
So I think that he would also be like an amazing dancer,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
So I think he would be like a really popular TikTok dancer and he would try to teach Wylan how to dance. I imagine they're stuck together in the quarantine for some reason, even though I imagine all the other characters separate. Um so like I think he A has a popular TikTok channel and B also plays video games when he's not trying to become internet famous.
I love it.
Yeah, and
So,
the gambling element of video games suits him really well too, and the flashiness.
okay. So,
Mhm.
what do you think? I know you struggle with this one, Wylan.
Okay, so I think Wylan, it like Zoya would have and Alina would have great quarantine specific hobbies, like independent hobbies like painting, playing music, like, you know, creating things and stuff like that. But like he's just constantly trying to keep Jesper out of trouble, right? Because like internet drama is 100% a thing. And then also like video game playing too many video games is like really bad for you, of course. So Wylan is like almost like Jesper's like caretaker at this point. And he's like really pissed off by it, but he can't stop because he adores Jesper. And Jesper is the life of the party for sure.
I think that's perfect. I I think Wylan would be a book box subscriber because that happened to me. And
Oh man.
and then also watching and painting along to the Bob Ross videos because I feel
Oh,
like he would find those and get fascinated by them. So,
that is adorable. I love it. And like maybe he's just trying to follow in his mom's footsteps. He's like, oh, like if I learn through these, like it sounds like a nice way to bond with my mom or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's really cute. I like that.
So, what do you think? This is I love this random one. The apparat.
Oh man, okay. I wrote doing cultist stuff.
Okay.
I don't think the cultists care about the quarantine. I think they would just go on doing like whatever they're doing, right? So I'm like, okay, I think the apparat is gonna just continue being the apparat. And like, who knows? Maybe they were the ones that like tried to create a plague to cause chaos in the world. I don't know. Maybe this is a strange cultist disease that has been brought upon the world.
I think that is perfect. I think like so you're gonna laugh at mine because I
Mhm.
loved this one. So I think that the apparat would be doing daily Instagram posts about getting his sourdough recipe perfect. Like,
Oh my
I
God, yes. I love
because
that.
everybody was doing that for some reason. Like there was all these like so he would just like I just imagine him like oh yeah, and definitely probably on TikTok too. Like I mean him like yeah, showing like here's like 450 of mini loaves of sourdough and he's just like he's got a cute and he's got to have some kind of like apron on that says oh, I kissed the cook.
Oh. Oh, dude, okay. If this was like written into a story, an AU story, he would actually instantly become my favorite character.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
I I'm immediately drawn to the person that wants to make sourdough starters.
I know, right? Oh my god, I have no clue. It
Oh
sounds delicious though. So,
oh, man, people would resent you for turning him into a likable character.
oh my god, yeah, we'll have to talk after the show. I'll tell you more about the apparat. I've done some crazy. He's as much as
Uh-huh.
I think he's creepy and can't stand him. I think I'm
Hmm.
actually more obsessed with him than I realize because yeah, he creeps me out. But he's got some of the craziest things, and he
It's a
lives.
dark fascination.
Yeah, he just seems to like never get killed. Like I don't think he ever will die. I don't think he did die. I don't think he's dead. Like who knows? He's like a
You
cockroach.
know, yeah, I think there were people messaging me because I had this poll on my Instagram saying, "How tall is the apparat?" Because I don't think Lay actually describes it right, as far as I can remember. And so someone messaged me saying, I think the apparat is like this really tall, lanky creature that can run around really fast because he always escapes death, right? So he's just underground, just like with his limbs flailing around, like running through the tunnels like some strange ethereal creature. And now I can't get that image out of my head, and that's like sort of how I imagine him.
That is funny.
But
So,
yeah.
what do you think about Nina?
Oh, okay. Mine is actually similar to your apparat bread making.
Okay.
So she's trying to make the best waffles, not the best bread.
Oh, I thought about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So she would just be like experimenting. She would be like cooking and posting it on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff. And yeah, but they would be really pretty. Like I would follow that channel 100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna do Nina and Matthias live together in yours?
Yes,
Okay, so do you want to go
100%.
ahead and say what Matthias would do because that's what
His assembly is working out. That's it. That's all I
okay,
put.
I can see that totally. So mine, Nina would be binge watching all of RuPaul's Drag Race and making Matthias watch it with her,
Oh,
and
that's adorable.
then having like her own like personal contest of trying every single restaurant that actually does deliver in like a vicinity. So like every like night having a different like place deliver them dinner like from some kind of like different restaurant. Then she'd have some kind of crazy contest in her head. And Matthias would I just picture him like waking up and hiking with his dogs, his wolves or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah, his big old puppies. Yeah.
Yep. And then he would be trying to like perfect his like Fjordan like food recipes and serving it to Nina, but Nina doesn't want it. So that's why she keeps like trying to like I don't know. I see this weird yeah. So
Oh, I love it because okay, I like how he's trying to like feed her like really bland food, and she's like, "There's no way."
we'll
Or
order out.
that's like actually perfect because like people who like work out or go hiking or whatever gotta like feed themselves, right?
Yeah,
Feed themselves healthy food. So I think that actually makes a lot of sense for
I
him.
agree.
But yeah, and the RuPaul's Drag Race, I thought you were gonna like say that she would start dressing him up just for
Oh my
fun.
god. No. That
Uh,
he would probably let her, but I don't think she would do that to him.
oh, she's
God.
not gonna torture him that much.
I don't think that much. So
But yeah, that would be cute.
Inej, I
Mhm,
so this one was a little hard for me, but
mhm.
I think that she would just for some reason be obsessed with binge watching Vikings Like, I don't think, and then she would be trying desperately to find someone to talk about that with, and because maybe,
Matthias.
yeah, and I had the same issue. I couldn't find anybody to talk to about it. But anyways, that's what I put. That's all I put for Inej.
Oh, I love that you're like you're putting in your secret obsessions into each
Yeah,
character.
I know they live through me.
I love that. Oh man, mine for Inej, mine is attached to Kaz's crypto bro and like
Smart.
graphics card exploitation schemes. So I think she would learn how to like program and stuff, like program bots, because there was this problem with like bots buying up graphics cards before human beings could buy them, just because like there was such a huge demand for them because of the crypto bros. Maybe this is too like niche for people to like relate to, but like
No.
I'm curious about it. I've never gotten into the crypto stuff, but like I read up on it, right? And
Yeah,
so I think she would like learn how to like program and just end up being really good at it and start like helping Kaz out with all his tech bro schemes.
absolutely. Of course, I see it. I don't think that's too far in. So, our very last character, and it's just gotta be, I mean, which is random, Jarl Broom.
Oh man,
Fun. I
this one's
know.
a crazy one.
Okay, what'd you put?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Or do you want me to go? I can do it. Do you want to go
You
first?
you should go first. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I put Jarl Broom would be creating his own conspiracy theory YouTube show. And like really like I mean like actually like it'd probably be one considered like an actual like I don't know, crazy news network, but like crazy insane stuff. And
Oh, I
people
love
would
that.
yeah. So
I think that makes sense for him because like he's so like deluded into his own like ideas in
yep,
the book that like yeah, he's definitely conspiracy. He's definitely a good
he
tinfoil
is.
hat, dude.
Definitely.
Oh man, I put he would be like so he would have like a rat problem in his house and he would just be obsessed with trying to kill them all, but it would be like a Looney Tunes cartoon where like he just can't get all of them or like they always outsmart him. And then maybe squirrels join in on it too, I'm not sure.
Wow. That is
But yeah.
funny. Okay. I love
Uh,
it. Well,
it's his like his whole like trying to kill things but failing every time kind of thing.
oh my god. That's awesome. It
Um,
kind of reminds me of that Looney Tunes cartoon. It's where doesn't someone always try to like oh
oh,
yeah.
Tom and Jerry.
Oh, is it Tom? Well, there's Tom and Jerry and then there's the guy that always tries to kill the rabbit. That always tries to kill
Oh, Elmer Fudd or
yeah.
something like that? Yeah, yeah, I think that's his name. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. Yeah, he's basically the Elmer Fudd of the Grishaverse at this point.
Yeah, except trying to kill rats. I don't
Yeah.
any
Rats is a little bit tiny bit more innocent than
right.
people, I guess. I guess they chew up your house, but I guess people could also chew up your house if they tried really
They
hard.
could. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
okay, well that was so much fun. Thank you all. Thank you so much for doing that with me, Kolarp. That was
oh, of course.
amazing. And
These are fun questions.
see, I'm glad. And don't worry, you're gonna have to come back on so we can play some more of these games and do more of this. This is gonna be so much fun. So, anyways, hope everybody enjoyed. And now, if you are interested in some more bonus content, don't forget, go to our GrishaCast YouTube and look for the video bonus content with Kolarp because that will be an in-depth like view of her artwork and it's gonna be really fun. It's just gonna be like something that I think a lot of her fans are gonna love. So please check that out. I cannot wait. And anyways, it'll be fun. So anyways, well, it's been so much fun, Kolarp. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
Goodness.
thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Of course. And as I said, you're gonna have to do this again. So and I
Yes.
all your social medias are Kolarp and then EM, correct? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Kolarp is spelled with a K and
Mm-hmm.
KOLARPEM. Yay! In
Yep.
case you didn't know I could
Yeah.
spell, I can. But,
I can't, so I'm impressed.
well, there we go. So
uh,
make sure to follow Kolarp. Thank you all so much. And yeah, this is just a special, fun little episode. We will, I'll see you next episode. Long live the Grishaverse.
like we're at the end of the hour, so my voice is a little husky. A plus.
No mourners.
No funerals.
This has been GrishaCast. Connect with us on the web at GrishaCast.com. Send an email to info@GrishaCast.com. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at GrishaCast. And thank you so much to our amazing staff, Chris, Michelle, Alex, and Brenda.